Thank you for watching another how-to video by Taylor. This one's going to be how to stabilize a crack in a concrete foundation flooring slab before you lay tile over that floor. So sometimes you have a hairline crack, a real small one that maybe formed when it was the slab was originally set, and it's not really moving, it's just a hairline crack. That you can probably leave in its place. But if you have a crack that's a little bit bigger, maybe a 1/16, an eighth, a quarter of an inch, half an inch, and you suspect that it might be moving. You know, a crack can move, even though it seems pretty static, it seems pretty still as you look there, but over the seasons, if you get a lot of rain, the crack could close up as the soil expands, and over a dry season, as the soil shrinks, the crack could open up. So you could have like a millimeter or so, or less, or a small fraction of movement, but that movement could be just enough to damage your tile floor. So in this video, we're going to show you how to take some steps to stabilize that crack, keep it from moving, or minimize that movement as much as possible on a technique that I'm going to show here before you tile that floor. Then your tile job on top of that slab will have the most chance or probability of success, long-term success, without correcting. So the first thing we're going to go over is some basic supplies and materials that you need to do this, to stabilize a crack. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have laid out here some basic supplies that we're going to need. You need a shop vac or air compressor, something to clean out the crack. There's going to be a lot of dust, and also as you're working and you're going to be using a grinder, it creates a lot of dust, and to clean out the crack itself, this is the crack right here. Actually, we're going to be mending, and so you use that shop vac to clean it out, and also as you're working to clean out all the dust and debris that accumulates. You'll need a grinder, and that's what I was just talking about here, and we'll show you how to use this to clean out the crack and prepare it, and also do some leveling if necessary with a grinder. We're going to use a compound here that is basically an anchoring compound to anchor bolts and metal into concrete. But we're going to use it for the stitching that we're going to make. Now as you're working, and like I said, you're producing a lot of dust, you want to have a dust mask as well. These stitches that we're going to be making are going to be made with these rods right here, and with the grinder we're going to grind a little channel and lay this perpendicular to the crack in 6 different places, and then we'll set this down, and then use the compound there that for anchoring, the anchoring compound, pour it in over that channel and to stabilize it. You'll need a couple spatulas to work with to make the job as clean as possible, level and smooth. It's going to be on the floor, so you're going to be on your knees a lot. I recommend some knee pads. I use those for all kinds of tile and all kinds of work on the floor, and that really saves your knees and allows you to not get fatigued being on your knees for hours. All right, so those are some of the basic tools that we're going to need for this job. And again, we're going to be putting some stitches in a crack. This is a crack right here that's running across this room. You've got this. It's a little bit bigger over here on this side, is as much as half an inch, or 5/8 even in places. And then as it goes in an angle across the room, it gets smaller. Now some of this is level, and some of it is, a millimeter or so fraction of a millimeter off. So we're going to be leveling that out with the grinder, cutting in, this is the high side, cutting into this high side to make the surface level. Okay, so we can see the progress here that we've made from the wall, where it's a little lighter along this near edge is where it's been grinded. We've grinded it down with the grinder. And if you get down here, you can see better how it's a little more flush. And then if we move along this, where we've done it already, you can see here where it makes the change. That right there we haven't done yet. This part right here, so it's, you know, whether that's 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch, something like that. Higher on this side than this side. But when you come back here and look at it, that's what the result of the grinder is. Gives it more flush. It just brings these two edges together right here, so that when we're going to fill this in, we're going to do our stitching, but when we tile over this, there won't be that ridge. So if this was to move just slightly, there wouldn't be that little lip here to crack it, as you have right here. All right. Okay, so we got to the point here where we've finished grinding down the surface here on both sides of the crack. This side was a little higher, so you can see where we did more grinding on this side just to make that level. And we did that with a grinder attachment that looks like this, and that is for coming along the surface, having it in a position flat like I was showing in the video, and grinding this down. So the whole crack is, we've done that to the entire side of the crack, to the right side that you see there. And then we've started creating the stitches like you see right here. This is a stitch, and that's going to be to hold the crack together, to stabilize it the best we can if it's an active crack, to minimize movement so the tile that we put above this won't be affected. And that you'll do with attachment, a blade, a disc that looks more like this. And where the other attachment was, the disc was more to sand this down, grind this down flat, a whole surface. Attachment like this is meant to use on with the edge, like I was showing in the video there, and to grind out a channel, to just cut a channel. And so that's what we've done here. We've cut this channel and make sure that it's deep enough and long enough so that when you put your rod in there, the rod is completely under the surface. You don't want any part of that rod, of course, sticking up or protruding up. So check the whole length of it. Looks like I need to shave a little more on the end here. So it's right here in the middle. It's a little bit up. You don't want it to be up at all. All right, and that's the second one. We've done another stitch here. And then we're going to inlay that with a joiner compound for concrete, anchoring compound, and that will anchor that together. We're also going to fill up this crack with it as well. All right. Okay, and so this is the finish mended crack that's it's cured for about 2 weeks now, and we've already started to tile over it, and so it's all in the same level, where before it was raised up, you know, about 1/8 of an inch on this side, and we have the stitches in place. Here's a stitch. That's where we use the grinder to grind down the channel. We put that bar in it, and then we put the anchoring compound on top of that. And with our knife spatula, we made it all smooth and the same level, so nothing was sticking up at all. And right here is another stitch. You can just barely see that. Been sweeping, it's a little dusty in here, but that's another stitch. And so that's how it'll end up. It'll be perfectly level, and the stitches will be there that'll anchor it in place. It'll do a whole lot to stabilize this crack before you put tile over it. And all right, so that's about it. I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, I appreciate if you would give me a like. And also at the end, there'll be a button there to subscribe to my channel, where I have more home remodeling, how-to videos on home remodeling and repair. And I'll be posting, you know, on a regular basis, once a week or so, new remodeling and home repair projects. All right, thanks for tuning in to How To by Taylor, and appreciate you watching.